Hello everyone. Today my group and I are going to be presenting CAF 3. My group members include Denzel, Javo, Murtaza and myself, Brithi. So starting with what a financial market really is. A financial market is considered as a very broad term that primarily refers to a marketplace where buyers and sellers participate in a trade. It is a marketplace where trading of many different types of securities take place. One of the vital roles of the financial markets is facilitating smooth operations by allocating resources and creating liquidity for businesses and entrepreneurs. Considering the heavy reliance on information transparency, the financial markets ensure that the prices set for each security is considered as appropriate and efficient. The main ideology of financial markets is providing a return for those investors or lenders who have excess funds and make these funds attained from such lenders available to those who need additional money. The different types of financial markets visible today are stock, cryptocurrencies, derivatives, forex, commodities, over-the-counter, and many more countless numbers. Moving on to the functions of the financial market. Firstly, there's mobilization of savings. So for an economy to be successful, it is crucial that the money does not sit idle. Thus, a financial market helps in connecting those with money with those who require money. Secondly, it ensures liquidity. Assets that buyers and sellers trade in the financial market have high liquidity. It means that investors can easily sell those assets and convert them to cash whenever they want to. Thirdly, price determinant. Demand and supply of an asset in a financial market help to determine their price. Investors are the suppliers of the funds while the industries are in the need of the funds. Thus, the interaction between these two participants and the other market forces helps to determine the price. So, moving on to flow of funds. Now, before explaining what the flow of funds really means, I want to explain what SSU and DSU really are. SSU, surplus spending unit, is an economic unit with income that is greater than or equal to expenditures on consumption throughout a period, while DSU is the deficit spending unit, which is actually the opposite of a surplus spending unit. DSU is a unit that spends more than it makes and therefore needs to borrow from surplus units to sustain itself. Now, the main task of a financial system is to efficiently transfer funds from the SSUs to the DSUs. The financial system allows net savers to lend funds to net spenders. One of the most important lenders are the households. However, there are many different firms, entities, and non-residents that are excessively lending funds. Now, funds can flow either directly amongst the two parties or there may be a presence of a financial intermediary. Under direct financing, debtors borrow funds directly from investors. These investors sell financial instruments, also called securities. On the other hand, if financial intermediaries play an additional role in the channeling of funds, this technique is referred to as indirect financing. Regardless of the method used for financing, a smooth and reliable functioning of payment and settlement systems promotes effective capital movements in the economy and thereby supports financial stability. And now pass it on to Javo to talk about UAE and the stimulus package.
Hi, my name is Jao and I'll be talking about Dubai and the stimulus package that they have recently used. So first let us start with discussing what a stimulus package is. So when we say stimulus package, we refer to tax incentives which are used by the government authorities to stimulate the economy during times of a crisis. So the coronavirus could be a good example. So around March of last year, the Central Bank of the UAE has rolled out a 100 billion dirham economic stimulus package to offset the effects of the pandemic. Now, the main purpose of it was to facilitate provision of temporary relief from the payments of the principal and interest on outstanding loans for some private sector companies and retail customers as well. Also, this package aimed to reduce the effects of the pandemic, as we have mentioned right now, and protect businesses with the main focus lying around the tourism, which has been drastically affected by the pandemic, the retail, as we have already mentioned, external trade, obviously, and the logistics service. So by providing the stimulus package, the central bank, kind of enforced, it boosted the economy and, helped private sector firms in the time of pandemic, which is happening right now.
Hi, I'm Denzel, and I'll be talking about the stimulus packages introduced in Germany and its effects. To combat the COVID 19 crisis and subsequently support the recovery, the German federal government had adopted three supplementary budgets of 156 billion euros in March 2020, 130 billion euros in June 2020, and 60 billion euros in March 2021. At the same time, through the newly created Economic Stabilization Fund and also the Public Development Bank KfW, the German government had expanded the volume of available guarantees and access to public guarantees for firms of different sizes, credit insurers, and non-profit institutions, some even eligible up to 100% of the guarantees, which had increased the total volume by at least 757 billion euros. The Economic Stabilization Fund and KfW also included facilities for public equity injection into firms with strategic importance. In addition to the federal government's fiscal package, many local governments had also introduced their own measures to support their economies, amounting to 141 billion euros in direct support and roughly 70 billion in state-level loan guarantees. However, faced with new infection waves and corresponding lockdowns, the government had further enhanced existing fiscal measures to support affected businesses, including revenue compensation, as well as extended access to grants, public loan guarantees, and even tax loss carrybacks. Some of these measures have also been extended well into 2021.
Canada has announced financial and tax measures in response to COVID-19. In addition to extending certain tax filing and payment deadlines, Canada will also provide a variety of financial measures for Canadian individuals and businesses affected by the COVID-19 outbreak. This includes tax measures that are both direct and indirect, such as payment deferrals or rate reductions, employment-related measures, such as state compensation schemes, training, etc., and economic stimulus measures, such as loans, moratorium on debt repayments, and with the main goal of protecting the Canadian middle-class jobs and safeguarding the economy. Some of these measures include the Business Development Bank of Canada and EDC to provide additional credit, focusing on oil, gas, air transport, and tourism for small and mid-sized businesses, and a credit and financial market liquidity support, wherein financial institutions provide 6-month payment deferral for mortgages and opportunity for relief on other credit products. Now, the main measures of the recovery plan include protecting health and safety, the tax liquidity support, which includes 85 billion Canadian dollars in total tax liquidity support for individuals as well as businesses, and other liquidity support and capital relief programs. Finally, the various sectors that the Canadian government are targeting with the relief program includes the academic research community, oil and gas sectors, air transportation, fish and seafood processors and fish harvesters, and farmers, food businesses, food supply and food inspection, among a variety of other sectors. Thank you very much.